for number 3. From your perspective, what qualities are essential for building and maintaining meaningful relationships? What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of 5 with T5. We bring local business owners, community champions, and all-around amazing individuals on to learn about them, their stories, or business in a quick and effective way. My name is Stephen Turnbull with T5 Insurance, your host, and I'm joined by our guest today, Ms. Kari Puleo, who is the Executive Director of the Greater Utica Chamber of Commerce. If you are joining us today for the first time, we're going to start the clock with 5 rapid-fire questions in the first 5 minutes, and then we'll learn a little bit about our guest. Ready to go?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here, Stephen.
All right. Question number 1. You have to pick one. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset all the way.
Ooh,
Grew up on
quick.
the St. Lawrence River, and the sunsets there are some of the best in the whole country, I believe. Absolutely beautiful. I'm an early riser now, but sunsets just leave you with that beautiful completion of a day. And there's nothing more beautiful than a gorgeous sunset.
I would agree with that as well. And they're different, right? The nice sunrise, if you can make a nice sunrise, it gets the day started on the right foot. But there is something to a beautiful sunset, maybe a nice cocktail in your hand with a fire going on. Who knows? I would agree with that. Question number 2, favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Movie that I'd watch over and over again. Love Actually. I know it's kind of cheesy, but just, that just comfort and feeling of connections. I think that's kind of what drives that movie is people are all connected in different ways. Something that I always like stop and watch if it's on. I also, there's 2 answers, but I also have It's a Wonderful Life. I have the movie poster hanging in my living room, and It's a Wonderful Life. The whole theme is about friends and connections and who you are and the life that you live. So the meaning, it's a holiday movie, but the theme and the message lasts all year long.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Oh, you absolutely have to. It's incredible.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to add that one to the list. You
Add
just
it.
talked about friends and connections, which is a majority of what you do professionally each and every day for different businesses.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to ask you this next question for number 3. From your perspective, what qualities are essential for building and maintaining meaningful relationships?
Authenticity. Always put your best self forward. Maybe not every connection is going to be the right connection, but if you're authentic in who you are, then you will find your tribe. Listening. So when you're talking to somebody, sometimes you're talking and more concerned about what you're going to say next, and you're not listening to what the person has to say and what they truly need and mean and believe. So I think listening is very important. Compassion and kindness. These days, we don't see enough of it. And being empathetic and understanding that your journey is not the same person's journey as somebody else. And so you don't know how or where they got to where they are. So listening to how they got there, being authentic and empathetic, and just giving people some grace. We're all going through a lot. We're all tasked with so many things these days, that just a little bit of grace and understanding. I think most people in the world are good people.
Sure.
And so just giving that room for to create a connection is truly very, very important.
I love the fact that you said realizing everybody's journey isn't yours.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And I know we're still in our 5 minutes, so I'll tell a really, really brief story. But, I talked to somebody who moved elementary schools within the city of Utica from one third grade to another. And what one third grade was learning in one school district, a more impoverished school district or a more impoverished school in Utica versus, one that had a little bit, higher income bracket. They were like 2 grades apart, and what he would have done, like what his road would have been if he stayed in one school versus another.
Yeah, great point. For you, question number 4, what is the best way to start your day?
Best way to start my day. I don't love getting out of bed. I am somebody who enjoys, like, especially in the winter months. Now that we're getting to summer, I love, getting up and getting energized. But I listen to podcasts and local radio in the morning. It kind of puts me in the frame of mind of what the news is, what I have to tackle, especially right now as we're in budget season and knowing where we are and kind of what happened overnight. For me, it is listening to either local news or a local podcast in the morning to know kind of what challenges my day is going to be ahead. I used to live in a city and commute to work, so I'd read a lot. Back then I'd grab the paper and I'd read the headlines. That was a long time ago before, I had a digital computer in my pocket.
A paper? What's that?
Being up to date, Sentinel would tell you papers are still very vital and important. But I think catching up on the news is probably the first thing that really gets me figuring out what the most important things I need to tackle. And if I have to rearrange my day based on what the news is.
Sure. Last question. You can only listen to one song the rest of your life. What song is it?
Oh gosh.
Save the heat. Save the heat for question number 5.
You know what song energizes me every time I hear it and puts me in a good mood is American Girl. It puts me back to my college days, and it's just upbeat and exciting and motivating. And you can't help but smile and just be in a good mood. It kind of reminds me of, being in a car with the windows down and just singing. That's probably it. The top number one, that's my pick me up song.
That's what I just absolutely love about music is there's so many songs in one's life or whatever, or genre, whatever it might be that could bring you back to that time or bring you back to a memory or, a feeling. I think that's fantastic. Well, you survived the 5 questions. I know. Now that's done with. Tell us this is going to be very hard to do in the last 10 minutes because as a current board member, I know all the great things that is happening, but what is going on with the chamber?
So the chamber has been absolutely fantastic. This year, we just received a 5-star accreditation from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which puts us in the top, top chambers in all of the country. There's only 4 in New York State, so we are very honored to receive this accreditation. And it's really done based on our body of work. We are actively involved in so many things. One of our most recent initiatives is our What's Upstate initiative. So talent acquisition and attraction. We're losing people in New York State. We have so many exciting things here and so many great jobs to fill. If you're from the Mohawk Valley, at one point you were always told you need to move away to get a good job and have a good salary and a good career. It's no longer the case. We have incredible jobs, great companies, advanced manufacturing, hospitality, agribusiness, the financial and insurance sector. We have so many really great jobs. Entrepreneurship within the Mohawk Valley is amazing. That you can stay right here and have a great career. We also have an incredible quality of life. I mentioned I lived in Washington, D.C. Commuting back then was challenging. I lived a little bit closer, but people who wanted, homes and families and yards typically had to have a longer commute. I live 8 minutes. I have a 5-bedroom house and 2 acres of land. And I live 8 minutes. It takes me 8 minutes to get downtown, even with the hospital here and hospital traffic. And I can have that balance of a good high-paying job, a nice home, and having that, the home I want. We also have high-end lofts downtown too, if you're in that stage of your life and that's the home you want. So we've got we've got a little bit of everything. We also are close enough to all the major cities that, if you need a weekend away, you can get to New York, Boston, Toronto, Ottawa, Philadelphia, DC, all within either a short car ride or train ride. They're very, very close. But you can also get to the St. Lawrence River, the Adirondack Mountains. You can go from being in the city of Utica to on a lake on a boat within 20 minutes. So we've got it all here. And I think people need to adjust and think about, what their priorities are, especially post-pandemic. A lot of people wanted to get out of cities. So we have the ability to attract people for good, high-paying jobs. So we have a website, what'supstateny.com, really to talk about not only what's here in Utica, but it's Oneida, Herkimer, and Otsego counties and what we have to offer to attract people to continue the growth and the upward trajectory that we are on in the Mohawk Valley. So that's one of the pieces that led to our accreditation. We also are extremely active in government affairs. I mentioned the budget. We're still in budget season. But here at the Chamber, what makes the Chamber different from other 501c3 organizations, we're actually a 501c6. So we have the ability to lobby. So actually this afternoon, we're sitting down with probably representatives because of the budget from Assemblywoman Buttonshans and Senator Griffo's office to talk about a piece of legislation that they proposed, but also bringing the parties that those affect, so utility companies and housing and landlords, to talk about both sides of it to make sure that this law is written without any unintended consequences. And so that in the end, the people that it'll affect, so people who are living in apartments, have the best quality of life. So Chamber acting as kind of like an intermediary in that circumstances. We had business after hours last night at AmeriQ, over 100, and we probably had 125 people there networking, making connections. I had people who have told me, I've never seen so many new faces in one place. And people are there to make meaningful connections and do business. So it's a great way the Chamber creates, and kind of going back to that first topic we were talking about, people who are moving here need to make connections. It's a really, really good way for them to meet new people and find like-minded people too, and make connections within the area. So we do all sorts of networking events, that are both, meaningful for, job purposes and making those connections, but also if you're a new employee to the area and you're looking to connect with somebody outside of your just immediate work circle, right?
Sure.
You got to make you got to have some sort of social life in there too. So those kind of events make way for that.
I tell this story all the time. I can attribute a majority of my relationships back to the Chamber, back to the first event that I went to in 2016. When I joined the family business, my dad said, this is a Chamber event, go to it. In 2016 in July, I, of course, had a full suit on. It was like 98 degrees because I was now a new businessman. So I had to have my big suit on and I was sweating. And it was the speed networking event at Piggy Pat's. I will never forget it. And I had to get up and talk about the company that I was at the time for 2 minutes. I barely knew how to spell insurance, let alone, all the ins and outs. But I made a relationship there with a gentleman, and I can draw it back almost on a map of he introduced me to this person, who introduced me to this person that helped me with my business this way, that helped me with personal connection this way. And I tell that story to a lot of people because you just never know who you're going to meet at these things. 100 to 120 people, the turnout you guys have been having at those business after hours. I mean, I tell people, start with the Chamber, get involved. But I also think it's important to note too, you get what you put into it.
Absolutely.
You get what you put into it.
Membership. I can pay John at Mohawk Valley Wellness every single month, but if I don't get my butt to the gym, I'm not going to get anything out of it. Same with the Chamber. You can pay your membership. And we do have people who pay their membership because they want to support the community and the work that they're doing. They're larger, maybe in corporations that are in the area, and they really want to support the work that we're doing, but especially for small business owners who are grinding each and every day, just to carve out at least once a month, just an hour and a half, just to make some new connections. I think it's so, so, so important.
But past that, the ribbon cuttings, the ambassador program, the different councils. That's why I say, if your time allows and you're in a capacity role where you can go to these different things and network these people and you're killing two birds with one stone. You're helping directly the business people of our community, which are our neighbors, our clients, our employees, our family, our friends. But you're also helping yourself grow that network. And there's so many opportunities. You and your team do just a fantastic job. And I know I can't tell you that enough. We got like a minute and a half here before we wrap up. I don't want to brush over the accreditation thing as much as we did. I want to give that the attention it deserves. Put that in perspective for somebody that's listening to that the first time, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, so there's over 7,000 chambers in the U.S. And I think, I don't have the numbers at the top of my head, but I want to say it's like 128 have a 5-star accreditation. So it's something that the chamber is extremely proud of, worked very hard for. It really covers the breadth of our work to make sure that we're doing what we say we're doing. We're not a membership organization that you're paying your dues to and you're wondering, what is this organization doing. We've actually been looked at and accredited and reviewed to make sure that not only what we're doing today, but what our strategic plan looks like. And it's on our website so that we're continuing to look forward in our community and meet the needs of our community. We're constantly changing and growing. So making sure that we're on the forefront of that as well. Um, and it's something that's very important to us. So, making sure that we're making sure that our employees are up to date on training and have training plans and are constantly keeping up with trends and putting forth educational opportunities on things like AI to make sure that our business owners know how to leverage that tool in a way that is beneficial for them. So we're not doing the same old, same old. We're not an old man's business club. We are, constantly looking forward to making sure that our community has the assets that it needs in terms of workforce, in terms of readiness, in terms of networking opportunities and community connections, educational opportunities for our business owners. A young professionals program. Stephen, you came up through our Catalyst young Professionals group, and so did I. And that is such an amazing opportunity if you're just starting out in your career to get engaged in the chamber in a way that you don't have to show up in a three-piece suit. You can feel comfortable in your own skin and who you are and develop your qualities as a leader. It's such a great way to get involved. And you can go to our website and get on our newsletter list for everything that they're doing. We're actually going to be putting out some great volunteer opportunities. We do a lot for the community. And you'll even see more to come. We've got some new things coming up our sleeve that we're really excited.
Awesome.
We just got to sign some stuff so we can announce some brand new things that we're doing too. So very excited.
You and your team do a fantastic job. So as a local small business owner, thank you for what you do for our community and the introductions that you allow us to make and the impact and all that. For anybody that's learning about the chamber for the first time, it's like, hey, how do I get involved? When can I go to these events? What's the best place to get involved, get plugged in, and how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, greateruticachamber.org. You can sign up for our newsletters, get on our mailing list, but I'm extremely accessible. Would love to have a cup of coffee, tell you more about what we do, and really get you involved and engaged. I'm here to help. My whole job is making sure that our businesses and our community are successful and thriving. That's what I get out of each and every day.
Amazing. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us, everybody. That is another episode of 5 with T5. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. Make sure to check us out on our YouTube channel and Facebook page, T5 Insurance. Until next time, remember the power of connection and learning from one another is what makes this community thrive. Most importantly, remember to make an impact in someone's life today, even if that's your own. This is Stephen Turnbull with T5 Insurance. We'll see you next week. Take care.